battle.
Look away!
What is it you are seeking?
Something else.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The story of Dracula Untold continues to fascinate audiences because it takes one of the oldest and most familiar legends and reshapes it into something emotionally driven, intense, and layered with human conflict, instead of retelling the same ancient tale. The movie creates a version of Dracula that feels deeply rooted in sacrifice, love, loyalty, and the kind of inner struggle that comes when a man is forced to embrace darkness to protect everything he holds dear. This approach transforms the myth from a simple horror icon into a tragic hero, a warrior caught between his humanity and the monstrous power he must wield. The film's energy comes from its ability to blend epic warfare, mystical danger, and emotional weight, creating a retelling that stands apart from traditional vampire stories. At the center of this world is Vlad, a ruler who tries to build peace in a land that has known nothing but conflict. He is a leader shaped by the echoes of war, a man who understands violence too well and desperately tries to keep it away from his family and people. In this story, Vlad is not a bloodthirsty creature. From the beginning, he is a father, a husband, and a protector who carries the memories of the horrors he once endured. His struggle becomes the heartbeat of the narrative, showing how war scars even the strongest heroes and how love can push a man toward unimaginable choices. When a new threat rises and forces him into an impossible decision, the story begins to unfold with gripping emotional intensity. The turning point comes when an overwhelming army demands that Vlad surrender the children of his kingdom, including his own son, to be used as soldiers. This demand forces Vlad to confront the past he escaped from and the realization that peace cannot survive in the shadow of oppression. Rather than giving in to fear, he seeks a power that no mortal should ever touch, a power hidden within a dark and ancient creature that dwells in a forgotten mountain cave. This creature, shrouded in mystery and burdened with a curse older than any legend, offers Vlad a choice that appears both terrifying and liberating. By accepting this dark gift, Vlad steps into a destiny that will forever blur the line between hero and monster. The transformation that follows becomes the defining element of the story. Vlad gains strength beyond imagination, speed that surpasses arrows, senses sharp enough to hear the heartbeat of any enemy approaching. The power is intoxicating but dangerous, a force that demands control and discipline. The hunger that comes with it is not just physical. It is a pull toward darkness, a battle between instinct and intention. The movie explores this struggle with a mix of intensity and vulnerability, showing how Vlad clings to his humanity even as the curse tries to pull it away from him. His fear of losing himself becomes more haunting than any enemy on the battlefield. The action that fills the film carries a sense of mythic grandeur, with battles that feel both cinematic and deeply personal. Vlad's ability to command swarms of bats, move like a shadow, and strike with supernatural precision becomes a symbol of his internal war. Every enemy he faces reflects the cost of his decision, and every time he uses his newfound power, the audience feels the tension between survival and corruption. The movie presents these battles not just as spectacles, but as emotional turning points that show how the weight of power grows heavier with each victory. Vlad wants to protect his people, but he also fears what he is becoming, creating a conflict that shapes every choice he makes. What stands out is how his relationships anchor the story. His love for his wife is portrayed as the light that keeps him grounded. She represents hope, trust, and the reminder of who he was before the darkness touched him. Their bond becomes a powerful emotional thread, adding depth to every sacrifice Vlad makes. His relationship with his son adds another layer, symbolizing innocence and the future he is fighting for. The film uses these moments to remind the audience that beneath the monstrous power lies a man who is desperately trying to save everything worth living for. As the conflict intensifies and the invading forces close in, the story pushes Vlad to make choices that test the limits of his humanity. The kingdom he vowed to protect becomes a battleground filled with fear, betrayal, and desperation. His people look at him with a mixture of awe and suspicion, uncertain whether he is their savior or a curse that has come to haunt them. This tension adds richness to the narrative, showing how power can divide even those who once stood united. Vlad must navigate not only the external war but also the doubts brewing within the very kingdom he swore to defend. The presence of the ancient creature who gave Vlad his power continues to loom over the story, acting as a reminder of the cost of the bargain. The creature embodies the fate Vlad risks becoming if he gives in completely to the darkness. The dynamic between the two characters adds a sense of mythology to the film, as if they are bound by a destiny that transcends mortal life. Their interactions emphasize the theme of temptation, illustrating how fragile the boundary between hero and monster truly is. This haunting tension follows Vlad throughout the film, shaping the journey toward its dramatic finale. As the story moves into its most emotionally charged moments, the cost of Vlad's bargain becomes unavoidable. The final battles are not just physical clashes, but emotional storms that challenge every belief and every ounce of strength he has. The enemy forces become symbols of the world that forced him to choose this path, while his own people represent the life he is trying to preserve. The film's climax delivers a powerful blend of tragedy, sacrifice, and the harsh reality that even heroes cannot escape the consequences of their choices. Vlad's final act becomes a defining moment that reshapes the legend, turning him into the figure the world would eventually call Dracula. In its closing moments, the movie leaves an impression that lingers. Instead of presenting Dracula as a mindless villain, it paints him as a man shaped by love, desperation, and destiny. The ending suggests that some stories are not simply about good versus evil, but about the complicated choices people make when faced with impossible situations. This interpretation adds emotional weight to a character often seen as a symbol of horror, giving him a backstory filled with pain, strength, and unbreakable love. It opens the door to the idea that darkness is not always born from cruelty. Sometimes it is born from the desire to protect what matters most. What makes the movie stand out is its ability to merge emotional storytelling with supernatural spectacle. It transforms a familiar legend into a tale of sacrifice and inner conflict. It shows how even the strongest heroes carry scars, and how power can become both a gift and a curse. The film's tone balances intensity with vulnerability, making it resonate with audiences who appreciate stories built on emotion as much as action. Every scene feels like a piece of a larger myth, crafted to give depth and weight to a character who has lived in the shadows of folklore for centuries. As the story reaches its final scenes, Vlad's journey takes on a more symbolic meaning. He becomes a figure shaped by destiny, a reminder that legends are not born, they are forged through struggle, sacrifice, and choices that leave lasting echoes. The film's finale captures the haunting beauty of a character who becomes larger than life while still holding pieces of the man he once was. This blend of tragedy and power gives the legend of Dracula a renewed sense of purpose, turning it into a timeless story that spans eras and emotions. The closing feeling the movie leaves behind is one of reflection and intensity. It reminds the audience that even the darkest stories can have moments of light, and that every myth has a human heart beating at its center. Dracula Untold becomes more than a retelling. It becomes a journey into the soul of a man caught between two worlds, fighting for love while battling the shadows within himself. It is this emotional foundation that makes the story captivating, offering a version of Dracula that is both fearsome and heartbreakingly human, a character shaped by choices, loss, and the hope that even in darkness, meaning can be found.